everybody, welcome back my creative friends, welcome back to my creative space. It's an absolute joy to be here with you again, it really is. I can't believe another week has gone past, and I know for many of you there'll be that C word coming up on the horizon, because I believe it's December. I can't quite get my head around that it's December, and any minute now there's going to be things happening. If you celebrate Christmas, I don't personally celebrate Christmas. That's just become a personal choice over the last few years, that I prefer just to have a really peaceful time around that part of the year. So, but that's just my personal choice. So there we go. And what else was I going to say? I was going to say, you can tell it's December because the weather's gone very cold. For us, this is quite chilly. We've had some minus numbers, which I know possibly isn't as cold as it can be around in other places in the world. We've had a little bit of snow, we've had a lot of frost, we've also had some rain. You know, it's typical weather. It's what we British like to talk about, is the weather, isn't it? It's just our thing. So I'm very grateful. As you can see, I've got a few layers on today because I'm just making sure I'm staying warm. I mainly sit in our kitchen because we have an Arga, which is a great boon, I can tell you. Having lived in a house with no central heating for 20 odd years, we then got some central heating put in, and because we live in the country, it's not altogether easy, these things, but we have belt and braces. So we have wood burners, we have electric heaters, we have, you know, an Arga, we have this, we have that, because you never know, you know, what's going to happen with power. And to me, this is proper winter. When you have to think about staying warm, I think that's really a proper winter. And it's very grounding. I think it's a very basic thing, isn't it? Like having enough food, having, you know, love in your life, having a purpose in your life, actually being able to stay warm in the winter and be really, it's a very fundamental thing to focus on. So it's like not a frivolity, it's a necessity. And as you can see, this is what I do. I wear a hat in the house. I've worn a hat in the house for many years because I find that actually keeps me warm. If necessary, I'll put a skirt and trousers on. I will put leggings on. I will put anything on just to stay warm. And my best friend is my electric blanket, I have to say. Bought an electric blanket, very early on in our marriage, because we seem to have always lived in places where there hasn't been central heating. We lived in a very grand house to start with, in a flat, in a Georgian crazy house with no heating at all, with little, you know, big huge rooms with great big high ceilings and no heating. So I'm quite used to it, and there's something in me that actually relishes the challenge of it. So I'm probably a bit mad. So that's where I am today, and that's why I'm dressed like this, keeping warm. And I hope you're keeping warm wherever you are in the world, and that you've got enough heating and food in your life and enough love in your life to keep you afloat, because we're all human and we're all in this game together, and it's really important how we connect with each other. I think that's really the other really important thing, having love in your life, whether it's self-love, which is a very important thing, or the love of other people. You know, I'm so grateful for the people I have in my life. I am so grateful, and I count you as people in my life now, because even though I've never actually met any of you, I have connected with some of you through the comments section, and I feel as though I'm connecting with you, and that's the important thing. And I hope you feel as though I am connecting with you too, because this is very genuine here. I just love doing this. I love talking to people. I love sharing what I do, and I'm so grateful to you from the bottom of my heart that you are here with me. So I'm going to get on today, and we're going to see where we're going to get with this amazing piece. There's so much excitement going on with it now. I think the colours are just really coming together, and we're going to see what the next stage is going to be. Okay, so let's get on with the embellishing. I'll take the pins out as I go. Obviously you've got to be really careful with pins with embellishing machines. Really careful. So far away. I love how something as simple as adding just similar colours sort of toning colours is making this sort of come to life, I think. And it's just adding to the texture. Some of these are a bit small actually, so let's see how they go. There we go, let's do this one. So you can see, although I put those pieces carefully pinned on, there's now huge gaps appeared again, so I'm going to add some more little pieces, because obviously they will shrink different amounts and you never quite know exactly what's going to happen. Okay, so that's that embellished down quite simply, and I've done the little bit up there. It's got a couple of pieces added on, and I do think that adds something nice to it. I think it's just following, it's kind of keeping, you know, following on the story from here. And what I did was I took back my tearaway stabilizer so I could embellish, because if you might remember, I cut that up a little bit because I don't really want to embellish through this, although I can and I have. I'd rather not. I don't think it's very good for my machine. So my next thoughts are, how am I going to stitch this down? Now obviously this lot is quite it's quite obvious that I've stitched it in lots of different colours, and it's got a lot of texture and it's got a lot of a big leafy feel to it. I kind of want this to be more in the background, so I might embellish it a little more just so that it's not quite so textured as this bit. And the other thing I've done, which is something really useful to do, is I made myself a teeny tiny little sample because I wanted to see what sort of stitching to do. So on one half of this, I'm very good at making a small sample do a lot of work for me, as I've said before. I've just done some random stitching on this side, and I did a sort of a leafy version on that side. I did it all in the same colour, and I don't know what you think, but to be honest, I don't think it makes that much difference. I think on the whole I prefer the sort of slightly leafy version, and I think I'm just going to do some light stitching. If I need to do more stitching I can, but I'm going to do it all in the same sort of colour so that it's got a sort of a harmony to it. I'm not making each area stand out like I have down here with all the different colours. I kind of want it to be harmonious, but the same sort of tonal thing going on up there. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, so I think you can see the difference perhaps between that area and this area now, because I really embellished this quite hard down so it was as flat as possible, and then I've used one colour thread and just stitched over the whole thing. So you kind of get this mosaic effect, I think, of light and dark shades, and it's giving it making it a background rather than a foreground. So this is kind of the foregroundy bit. Not sure what's going to happen with this sticky uppy bit here at the moment. I'm just, jury's out on that bit, but we're just leaving it for now. This is all a process. It's a process of exploration. I have no idea how this is going to turn out eventually, but it's a process of exploration, and it's just enjoying this experimenting and finding out what happens if I put this bit there or that bit there. And nothing's ever right and nothing's ever wrong, as you've probably heard me say here many a time. This is just a bit of fun and a bit of art and a bit of faffing about. I'm just going to attend, I think, next to this bit down here. I'm just going to turn it round. Obviously it's gone a bit bonkers, this bit, and that doesn't really make any sense in any way, shape or form. And I could either take that off, okay, and cover that with yellow, but that seems to make that rather large, so I've chosen instead, I'm just going to put some little bits of more fabric on here. Doesn't really matter what colours I use, I'm just going to plop them on here somehow. This is not exactly the pieces I'm going to use, I'm just showing you what I'm going to do, what my thinking is. Maybe a little bit over there as well, just to try and smooth that out, and I think that then makes a bit of sense. Try and maybe do it there as well, so it looks like it just sort of is a piece of ground with lots of leaves on, and I think that makes that makes it more coherent, so we're going to go with that. So I will embellish those onto there, and then we'll just swivel it round again, because then I think up here I've picked out some colours. I just want to break this orange up. It's very intense, it's very dark and sort of quite strong looking, and I think it needs breaking up a bit, but I don't want to break it up like I've done it down here. I'm not going to be stitching lots of leaf shapes onto it. I'm probably just going to do it like this, just very sort of simple stitching. So I've got this lining fabric, very old, funny old lining fabric, and I'm just going to add some little bits of this onto here. And then I've got this, I've only got a little bit of this, I don't know where it's come from. It's obviously, it's got a very crinkly bit here. It's been ironed or something. It's had some hot applied to it, and I have to say, I rather like that bit, don't you? That's fun. I'd like to make some things with that piece, but you know, there's not very much of it. I think I must have caught it on the iron. I think that's what it is. So again, we're just going to have some little pieces just to break it up a bit, and it's almost like it's just making it a bit lighter as well. So I'll just play around with these and I'll embellish them down so they don't look too, yeah, I think usually the best way I find is just to put a few on, embellish them down, and then just add what I need to after that. So I shall do that next. Okay, so this is me. I've broken a needle on my embellishing machine, so I'm just about to replace it. It has to go into this little gadget here. And I have to say, it's a little bit of a fiddle, but we usually get there in the end. That's it. Bingo. Da, 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 da. So it's a job requiring much patience. You can actually on this machine take the whole of this thing out, and what I love on the Baby Lock is you can put this is the presser foot if you like, and you can put the presser foot up and down, so I can get access to the needles quite easily because the presser foot goes all the way down. So I think that's okay. I'm just going to make sure that's really tight. Make sure they're all tightened up. There we go. And I'll put the guard back on. This is why I'm very, very careful when I embellish, and I try to use only materials that my embellisher really likes, and I only use it when I'm feeling happy and contented, because I find if you use it when you're stressed, you're just going to break needles. So there we go. So I'll just pin these on and then embellish them down, and we'll just build that bit up, and then it'll be done in no time at all. So we'll just get these pieces nicely embellished down, and I just keep putting some on and then having a little look. And you can see how much they shrink, which is always amuses me. Even after all this time of using an embellishing machine, it still entertains me how much it shrinks and changes. Let's do this bit here. I don't know whether I'd quite like that to be closer into that edge, maybe. When I'm doing something like this and I'm adding other colours on, it's quite nice to take a little bit of the background colour as well and just add some little pieces of that on too, so that it looks like it's kind of deliberate, this colour mixing, so that it doesn't just look like you've just put a load of extra colours on top. So you can add bits like this onto it, and then that sort of helps blend it in as though you've been layering things up all the time. It's a sort of it's kind of a bit of a cheat, if you like, but it just helps the eye not go, oh, there's a piece of bright fabric sticking out there, oh, there's another one. It just helps blend everything in a little bit, which I think is helpful. I'll just put these on as well. Well, okay, so I think you can probably see how just putting those simple little pieces onto there has given it a coherence with this bit, and you just get, to me, it's a sense of some light coming through. A little bit of just changing that surface has made all the difference. It's lifted it like it did here. I don't know if you agree, but it's kind of lifted the surface, so I've just added more layers onto it, and that's so much more interesting than just one flat colour, isn't it? So the question is, what are we going to do next with this piece? How's it going to come together? It needs some kind of focus. I feel as though it's going to be something up in this area, but I don't know. So I'd really be delighted if you want to leave me a comment as to how you think it's going so far. You know, do you like what I've done with this bit? Does that make sense? And what on earth are we going to put up in this area here? I'd love to know what you've got to say. I'm so grateful that you're all here with me, because your creativity is different to mine, your ideas are different to mine, and I love the comments that I get that give me insights into perhaps something I hadn't thought of doing, and it's just lovely to share this place with you. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your subscribing, and can I just say this is my last video for 2023. I will be taking 2 weeks off now for the festive season, and I will be back, I think the 10th of January is my intention. So I hope that you will have a lovely time with your families, or whatever it is you do. If you're quiet and you just do nothing, that's pretty much what I do. But whatever you do, I hope you'll have a lovely time, and it'll be peaceful and joyful. And I will see you back in January in 2024, which is very exciting. Thank you again for being with me on this journey. We've had an amazing year with all sorts of things coming out of it, and I'm so grateful that you're here for me to share this with. So see you again, my creative friends, very soon. Bye bye for now. Ba ba da ba da ba da ba ba.